Your foreman has a lot on his plate. And sadly, many of those foremen are frustrated. And when they're frustrated, one eye is going to be like wandering off to other opportunities that are out there. So today on Contractor Fight TV, I'm going to share 5 things that you could do to help your foreman be more successful and in turn give them a great opportunity for a career and give you a stronger business that can grow and scale the way you want it to. Let's go. So this video today is for 2 people. One is the business owner and 2 is the foreman. If you're a business owner, then implement the stuff that I'm talking about here today with your team. If you're a foreman, show this video to your business owner, to your boss, and go, if this shit ain't happening, show them this video. All right, because it's going to help all of you. As you succeed as a foreman, the business will succeed. As the business succeeds, the people will succeed. You can't grow a business without human beings, and you all need each other. And time again, I'm blown away when I talk to companies and I ask about what's your process for running jobs and things like that they have no plan. They're just calling somebody a foreman because they have the most experience in the trade, throwing them to the wolves, and then they wonder, man, I sold the job at this high rate. It didn't come in at the profit we thought it was. My guys are a bunch of fucking idiots, okay? And they start blaming the foreman. So guys, if you're a foreman, I want to make sure that you ain't blamed for shit that ain't your problem. And if you're a business owner, you got to do your part and set your people up for success. The first thing you must provide for your foreman, hands down, is a clear scope of work. Several years ago, I was working with a company in the water feature industry. They built this gorgeous, natural-looking waterfall. The guy running the job, I was out on the job site with their team, okay? And he built this thing. He probably spent 6-8 hours building this gorgeous waterfall in this small water feature in this guy's backyard. They're all proud of it. Everyone's like, wow, that's a beautiful waterfall. Homeowner came home and says, that's not the type of waterfall I said I wanted. I told the salesperson that I wanted a more modern looking waterfall or whatever it was, okay? They built the wrong waterfall. So they had to rip the damn thing apart and rebuild it because the salesperson / estimator failed to communicate to the team in a clear scope of work exactly what was expected, exactly what the client wanted. You have to have, when you're a foreman, you have to have a clear scope of work. You have to have a piece of paper that you can look at that has, this is exactly what needs to happen out on this job site, okay? Because a lot of reasons, but we don't want our foreman to look stupid. Foreman, raise your hand if you've ever been out on a job site, okay? I know a lot of you raising your hands right now, and you've been made to look stupid because you didn't have some key information about the scope of work on the job. That's the first thing that you have to have. So if you're not providing a clear scope of work on every single job, as detailed as possible, and giving that foreman and that team a target to hit, you're setting them up for failure. Second thing your foreman needs, and this can be part of the scope of work, but it's what are the job resources that are needed in order to pull off this project? Resources meaning man hours. How many man hours was this job bid for? Again, this is a topic that comes up all the time in our coaching programs, and a guy's like, yeah, my crew, screwed the pooch on this job. We didn't make any money. I go, well, how many man hours was it bid for? And the owner or salesperson is like, I don't know. We just kind of priced it the way we thought it should be priced. Guys, there's no consistency with that. You must provide the proper resources to your foreman. And that first one is, what is the expectation of the man hours? Okay. Then you get into materials. How much material, wood, paint, whatever, did you bid on the job? And then finally is equipment. Is there equipment that we need to bring in and rent or use? I remember there was a project that I bid many years ago and I didn't provide this information. In my head, I thought we were going to spray the job. Crew went out there and I was like, why the hell did we get our asses kicked on the job here? We didn't make any money. Well, they did it all by hand because they didn't know that I bid it to spray it. Okay? That would be key information to give to your team. If you're not yet dialed in and organized and all that other shit and it overwhelms you breaking down every job and every task and how many man hours and things like that, at least start with 3 phases of the job. Start with 3 phases. Every project really has three phases. The first is the prep phase. The second is the build or the actual work, and the third is the finish. At the very least, provide the man hours and expectations and scopes and all that in those three little buckets. Okay? Prep, if I'm painting, prep might be everything that happens from running to the store and picking up paint and whatever to getting to the job all the way up until we're going to crack open a can of paint. I would call that the prep. How many man hours? How many people? What's going on? Then we get into the actual painting. How much time did I give the painting? And then the third is the finish. Cleaning it up, detailing the job, doing a final walkthrough with the customer, all those things. Guys, it's easy to do that. If you just take some time, you will make a lot more money and your team will be set up for success if you get clear on these job resources. Okay? This is also how you know if your foreman is any good. I mean, think about that. How many times do you have a foreman come to you and go, hey, can I have a raise? There's a guy I work with in town here. He's got his shit together. Whenever a foreman comes to him and wants more money, he simply opens up a job costing spreadsheet that's filtered by that foreman's jobs for that period of time. And if they're hitting their targets and stuff, then they'll have a conversation about paying him more money because he's worth more money to him. If he's not hitting his targets and budgets and all that other stuff, he'll share some things that he needs to work on to get better. Guys, if you don't have this data, how can you judge your people? Third thing you must be providing to your foreman is the job site info. Who do they call out there? Who's the point of contact? Are there any entry codes, right? Sometimes people give us a garage door code or whatever it might be. Information like, hey, there's a sprinkler system that's going to go on. That would be a real shitty thing. I remember painting a deck or staining a deck one time and the sprinklers kicked on and got everything wet. Okay? That's job site info that we need to know. Maybe there's other trades that are going to be on the job. Your team needs to understand that. Your foreman needs to know that so he can pre-plan. What do we do if the pet gets out and nobody's home? We can go on and on with example here. Another big one is signed paperwork. Yes, it's the salesperson's responsibility to get a signed contract and a deposit check and whatever paperwork your company requires to set foot on the project. Your foreman should know that those boxes were checked too, and if they're not, put it on him to, hey, homeowner person, Joe the sales guy told me that you hadn't yet given us the deposit check yet. I'm going to need to get that before we start. That protects the foreman and the crew from making sure they fucking get paid too. You have each other's backs here, guys. So many foremen are going into a project with no job site info and they're like walking around in the dark. Don't do that to your people. The fourth thing, these aren't in any particular order of importance in my book, but I would say this is probably really, really, really important here. Your foreman and your team in the field, they need to know what the pain and the promises were of when the job was sold. What was the motive of the customer for them to hire your company? Why were you hired? That's important to know. Why us? That's important to know. That should be documented. Okay, I'll give you some examples from my past. We were hired one time simply because we would not wake up a woman's twins. Her twins napped from a certain time in the day, every day like clockwork. This woman got no sleep whatsoever, and in the sales process, I asked her what was most important. She said, don't wake my fucking kids up or I'll kill all of you. Because that's the only sanity I have in my day is when they're napping. What would happen if I did not communicate that to the crew? The crew would show up, they'd be banging ladders, they'd blah, blah, blah. What we did instead is our crew leader worked out a later start time with that customer. We adjusted lunch. We took lunch off-site during that window of time that those babies slept, and it was the greatest experience she ever had with a contractor. See, your customers buy for their reasons, not for yours. And as a salesperson or owner of your business, you know what those things are, but oftentimes we fail to communicate that to our team, and then what do? We end up not delivering on the promises that we made when they hired us. Make sure that your team is up to speed on the motive, what is most important to that customer. The final bit of advice I want to give you guys today to set your teams up, your foremen up for more success and ultimately have a better experience, better business, more money, is they should be going out and meeting with the customer and having what we call a transfer of trust, where a few days, several days, few weeks, depending on the size of the project, have them pick up the phone and walk the job early with the customer. Okay? It looks like this. Hey, listen, I know Tom was the sales guy. I'm just out here a few days early to just go through this and make sure that we get you everything that you want, that this goes the way you want it to go. And they're going to cover everything from start times to where they can park to where to use a bathroom or not. Do we need to get a porta potty? Whatever. Okay, fill in the blank here. Okay, this is amazing because your foreman, the leader of the job, can start subconsciously and consciously start working on the project before they ever set foot out there. They could pre-plan some things. If you have a larger company with multiple crews, you might need to borrow some guys from another crew. Well, you could let that other crew know a week or so in advance, hey, I'm going to need Billy and Sam on this day, and I'll give you so-and-so on those other days to make up for it. And within your company, your team leaders will be handling the logistics of these projects. You guys, this meeting is an amazing trust builder for your client as well. A lot of people have buyer's remorse. They stroke a big check to a contractor, they hold their breath, cross their fingers that the thing's going to go as planned. This is one of those safety measures for you and the client to help them realize that, man, I hired the right company. These guys have their shit together. Because when I go out there and my team goes out there and they go, hey, Tom mentioned in the notes here that the twins nap between this time and this time. Tell me about that. Their minds are going to be blown. Trust is going to go through the roof, and it's going to be a better experience for everybody. Guys, when you do these things consistently, you will have more success on every single job. You will have satisfied employees. Your foreman will feel like they're part of an organization that isn't chaotic all the time. Your customers will trust you more. They'll refer you more, not on the quality of your work, which will be great, but they'll refer you more because of the experience that you and your team were able to give them. But it comes down to you as the owner to make sure you're providing this shit. It comes down to you as the foreman that if you ain't getting this shit, you tap your owner on the shoulder and go, you need to watch this damn video right now, and we got to unfuck this stuff so we can elevate ourselves as a brand and do some really cool things in our work. So guys, we talked about man hours, scopes of work, materials, things like that. Let's go after some low-hanging fruit here. All right? It all starts with job costing. You got to know how much it costs you to do projects if you're going to give clear scopes of work and man hours and things like that. So I want you to go to thecontractorfight.com, get this free resource we have. It's a job costing sheet. All right? Super self-explanatory. Go to thecontractorfight.com/job costing. Pick yours up right now, and it'll get you on that path to getting your people the information that they need. You guys rock. I got to roll. I'm out.